Welcome to another 21 Hats Dashboard. Every Monday, Gene Marks and I talk about the issues we think business owners should be following. Welcome, Gene.
Hey, Loren, great to speak with you this morning.
As always, great to speak with you. First, Gene, I want to start. You've written about how companies are moving to replace workers with robots. You've kind of done it as a little bit of a warning for during the labor shortage, where job candidates have been especially choosy about taking jobs. This week, we got a report of record-breaking robot sales. Companies ordered nearly $1.5 billion worth of robotics in the first 3 quarters. What's this telling you?
I've been obsessed with this issue, Loren, and I'm still obsessed with it. I've written about it twice, and what I do is I collect bookmarks. I bookmark websites of stories about robotics and businesses. My particular interest is small businesses. Yeah, and I'm going to write again, by the way, because already I'm creating a new list of more. They just come every day. There's new stories. The narrative has been in the past, correctly so, that robotics were for big companies. Like you saw those robots at like the Toyota factories, or Amazon's distribution centers. But now you're seeing the numbers come out, and you're right. Like there was like $1.5 billion of robotic sales already surpassing, prior years. This is not a big business thing anymore. And I'm seeing it, man. Like I go to clients and I am seeing clients buy robotic arms that are doing like packaging and quality control. And I've just been reporting on companies all around the country that are investing in autonomous vehicles to transport stuff around a warehouse instead of a forklift. And I know some companies are using drones to like move packages or to help with inventory counts, and it's just these companies that are making this stuff, they're going to be a lot more coming up. They are replacing people. And that's it. They're all telling us, no, it's to enhance productivity of your people and to make you, more efficient and automated. And business owners are buying this stuff because it replaces workers, and it's not big business anymore. It's small companies. So keep watching it, because I'm going to keep writing about this, man, because I think it's an enormous trend that's happening slowly but surely throughout the entire economy.
Have you spoken to any owners who've done this about the return on investment? Are they happy with what they're getting out of it?
Yeah, they are. I have a few clients, and I've also spoken to a few. And it's interesting that you asked that question, because I've been quoting other sources. How when we were working together at the New York Times, we did like a roundup, of like other articles. So I've been doing that, but I'm gonna write my own article for somewhere, and I'm gonna interview a handful of business owners that are, because I know a few, to answer your question, that are like, yes, we have invested $10,000 in this, in this robotic arm, and it is returning to me way more of a value than having the employee there. The company that I want to interview, or the customers of the company, is Boston Dynamics. Because those guys are coming out, like they introduced this robot called Stretch this year. It's $75,000, but the thing, it moves pallets, it stacks pallets, it unstacks pallets, it opens boxes, it closes boxes, it does all these things. It's a big robotic warehouse thing, and like a manager can like supervise 5 of them at a time. And for $75,000, it doesn't ask for any paid time off, doesn't ask for any health insurance, doesn't complain about being bullied. All of those things, and plus it shows up to work every day. So
what's the primary use? Is it in warehouses for like pick and pack, that kind of thing? Yep,
pick and pack, like on a grand scale. And I think it's just it's just affordable. It's $75,000 is a very affordable number. I mean, let's not forget, people get tax deductions for buying capital equipment. You can buy this, get it into service, and write it off in the first year. So there's a lot of that going on, and I'm interested in talking to Boston Dynamics soon about how that product is doing, because it seems like it's just part of a major trend of robotics. That's robotics, by the way. I know the article wasn't about other automation like AI and and Internet of Things and all of that. All of that stuff is replacing people as well, but that's another conversation for another day.
All right, next story. We got a report last week that inflation spiked by 6% year over year for the month of October, highest in 30 years. I guess first question, how concerned are you about that for your business and small businesses in general?
Everybody's reporting significant rise in prices, way more than what the government is reporting. So I was in just this past week, I was in Charleston, I was in Vegas, and I was in Miami speaking to business groups in real estate industry, construction industry, and distribution industry. And when I say the government just reported an 8.6% increase in producer prices to a person, they're all like 8.6. We're seeing way more than that, So the numbers are much, much higher for core materials that are being used for manufacturing. And we're going to be seeing those price increases for the foreseeable future. Plus, we've got issues with just liquidity in the market. The Fed is, they're starting to, tailor off their buyback, their buying program, but they're going to be raising interest rates sometime soon because they're going to be forced to. Inflation is definitely going to be around, Loren, for the next year. It's just a fact of life, but you know what? We'll navigate our way around that. I mean, people freak out about inflation, and I understand that it's just another challenge of running a business. But, countries since the beginning of time have dealt with inflationary periods, and businesses, we navigate around that. We invest in tech and, cut our overhead and raise prices.
There is a trade-off there. I mean, we went through this after the Great Recession, and in retrospect, a lot of people believe that there wasn't enough stimulus at that time, and that's why the recovery took so long. This is the opposite problem. I think a lot of people feel this problem's better than the problem that we dealt with, waiting for that recovery to come last time.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the other thing with people, first of all, another thing I want to write about is that there are some pretty crazy things that businesses are dealing with right now. I mean, we're dealing with inflation. We're dealing with finding people. We're dealing with making tech decisions.
Supply chains.
Supply chain, government mandates, the whole mask thing, the mandates with the getting vaccinated. There's a lot of stuff business owners are dealing with. And if you and I were talking 2 years ago, none of this stuff was even on our radar screen. Do you know what I mean? Having said that, though, and to your point, think about a year ago, Loren. I mean, things were really pretty shitty a year ago. Heading into Thanksgiving with cases spiking, businesses, a lot of uncertainty, everybody eating outside at restaurants. I mean, demand is still very strong.
Right. That's the thing. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have supply chain problems if there were no demand. I think we're happy to have the demand.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, these are problems, but they're not bad problems to have. And they are, we've got the demand there. Small business optimism came out this week and it fell to like a 7-month low. Okay, but it's still at levels that I saw back in 2015, 2016. Nothing's bottoming out. And all those industries that I spoke to, they're all grumbling about the prices, but they've all been having good years.
All right. So here's a story that caught my eye this week that kind of runs in the opposite direction that I found really intriguing because I haven't seen anybody else write about it. It ran in The Week. And it's a story about gas prices, which are a big component of that increase in inflation. And, lots of people freaking out about gas prices right now. And for a lot of people, it's obviously a very, very serious problem. This story pointed out that that's kind of been an unappreciated part of the switch to electrical vehicles, something that we haven't focused on very much. If that continues, and there doesn't seem to be any reason to think it won't, that's going to take a lot of the pressure off of gas prices. They'll kind of become irrelevant, don't you think?
Yeah, when you send me that story, guys, if you're listening to this, Loren sends me these stories in advance. Okay, so this is not like nobody's taking me by surprise here. But I was thinking there's Loren going off about his green, left wing liberal.
It isn't even about that. It's not. It's aside from the green stuff.
Yeah, but I'm thinking all right. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put this right in Loren's face. I'm going to do a little bit of research, and I'm going to be like, you're out of your mind, dude. I mean, fossil fuels are here to stay in cars. Then I started doing some research. Electric vehicles last year accounted for only 2% of car sales. Okay, that's very, very low. However, according to Climate Wire, which is it's a news site that covers the environmental industry, it's gone up. This number this year, it's approaching 20% of all passenger vehicles, they are reporting, are EV vehicles, electric, 20%. And I think to myself, okay, I guess that makes sense when I think about it, because there are so many hybrids, and Tesla and all the other makers that are out there, they're really gaining. And then when I talk to anybody of my friends, right wing or left wing, they're all like, yeah, I would get an electric vehicle. Like, yeah, it's fine by me. And, if you live in the suburbs, and you can plug it into your house, there's some adjustments you can make to your own house electric system, according to Elon Musk, that you can plug in your car, which you can. And then you've got like, I don't know. I see those electrical vehicles taking hold, and you're right. I think that will have an impact on fossil fuels.
It's also part of the infrastructure, Bill. You're going to have a lot more of the charging stations built, and you're going to have the government buying a lot more electrical vehicles, and you're going to take a lot of the demand for gasoline away. And so, obviously, if you own an electric vehicle, it's not going to be a concern. But even if you still have a combustion engine, you're going to probably pay less to fill it because there's going to be less demand for gasoline.
It's so true. And, I even just wrote a story in The Guardian the other week about how like California was saying you can't, after like another few years, you're not allowed to buy any gas powered small engines, which is driving the whole landscaping industry, crazy. I mean, states are putting in these kinds of mandates. In the end, the thing is, Loren, is that this is not answering our questions now. Somebody just showed me like a gallon of gas in Coronado, California, outside of San Diego, was $5.39 for a gallon, So all of this rise in EV and the infrastructure bill and all that, I think it is great stuff for the future, but it's not going to solve, our gas prices problem, particularly for small businesses, anytime in the near future. We're going to have to be dealing with higher energy costs. That's just it. And unfortunately, being in the gas industry is tough nowadays. You've got a lot of regulations holding back on production, and that's causing a slowdown in supply, which is pumping up prices. So these are issues that we're going to be dealing with. We're going to be dealing with higher gas prices and oil. There's so many oil-based products as well. I think that's going to be part of our future as well.
Well, you're right. I didn't mean to suggest, and that story didn't suggest that this was a short-term solution to the gas price problem, but it is something to think about going forward.
Yeah. What do you think? I just have to say, like on the, you hear about mandates that governments make like California requiring, small engines, you can't buy gas powered engines, you know what I mean, after a certain period of time.
Not for cars. You're talking about for equipment.
Yeah, for like lawnmowers and weed whackers and, those kinds of things, Do you think that's a good thing?
I think there's probably a right way to do it, and I haven't studied what's going on in California well enough to know whether they're doing it the right way. I think my understanding is that they have taken some steps to make it more digestible for the businesses that are affected by it. I'll tell you what, I'm no big fan of gas-powered leaf blowers. I don't like smelling them. I don't like hearing them. And apparently they do more damage than, a fleet of cars. So I think the idea of mandating this is probably a good one, but steps need to be taken to protect people who are affected by it.
Yeah, it's a good answer. I mean, listen, I'm a Mr. Smaller company and less governments and less regulations or whatever. But the environment is important, and we have to be proactive about it. And I don't think a lot of the stuff can get done without the government putting in either mandates or significant incentives.
I think we've proven that
direction. And business will adapt. Like these businesses in California, they'll ultimately adapt to the new situation.
You got to watch it. People can get fall through the cracks, and that's not a happy outcome, and I'm hoping that they're going to take care of that. Next story. You've written quite a bit about ransomware and cybersecurity and what businesses can do to protect themselves. This week, there was a story in Wired, or the last week, actually, a story in Wired about the government actually taking some meaningful action, which is something I think a lot of us have been looking for a long time. They caught a perpetrator and they seized $6 million in ransomware payments, which is, I think, for the first time, an indication that somebody doing this could actually pay a price for doing it. Do you think that'll make a difference?
No. I mean, first of all, the guy, they caught this guy. He's from Ukraine. Big shocker there, because basically all they need to do, I think the Americans, you know how they caught bin Laden? They need to like just fly in. I think there's one neighborhood in Ukraine which has all the hackers in it. So just
I thought some of them were in Russia.
Yeah, no, it's Russia, but I think it's all. I think Ukraine. You know, I think you just attack them, and basically, cordon off that neighborhood, and then arrest all the people there. It's a 22-year-old kid. Do you really think that these people are going to be, scared or put off from that? I mean, this kid made a mistake. He got apprehended. Ransomware and all these attacks are going to continue.
Wait, when you say he made a mistake, was the mistake doing the hack, or was the mistake he did something stupid that allowed himself to be caught?
He allowed himself to be caught. The mistake wasn't doing the hack, and his, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's not going to stop people. And I've been talking about this again, only because, and I know we've talked about it in the past, but you guys, if you're listening again, particularly it's this work from home thing is being like, this is like the biggest fantastic thing for hackers ever. So please, 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 if you just make sure that your workers from home are running the most recent versions of their operating system, I promise you it will significantly reduce your exposure to getting hacked. It doesn't eliminate it, but guys like this guy in Ukraine, he doesn't want to deal with updated operating system. He's looking for computers he can compromise. So that's what you want to do. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away.
When I bring up this topic with business owners, they leave the room, they fall asleep, they do everything except take it seriously. Do you still get that reaction, or do you think people are paying attention now?
I'm not sure if they're paying attention or not. It's still an issue. You know what I mean? So it is. I don't think it's I don't think they're paying attention.
All right. Well, maybe we made a difference today. Last story. It's been kind of an open secret that unlimited PTO plans don't really work because employees aren't really sure what the expectations are. And they can even result in people taking fewer days off because it's unlimited. Protocol, which covers tech companies, reported last week that some companies are moving toward mandatory PTO as a way to counter that, telling people they have to take the days off. Is this just a tech industry thing, or do you see this as being something that could affect businesses in general?
So what I'm seeing, Loren, is I'm actually seeing like a significant rise in unlimited PTO plans by a lot of businesses. I mean, it's not a fly-by-night thing, and it's not just a tech industry thing. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. I mean, as a recruiting tool, unlimited PTO is like a really, it's a really strong thing. It's highly in demand, and actually, it can benefit a lot of businesses by providing that kind of benefit. Now, there's ways,
do businesses provide it because they know the employees aren't going to use it? Is that?
It's a really good point, because some people are saying they're reading the numbers, and the numbers are coming out that employees at companies that offer these unlimited PTO plans tend to take less paid time off, like significantly less. So a lot of employers, and by the way, if you have an unlimited PTO plan, you don't have to pay for any unused vacation when somebody leaves your company.
Right.
Like so there's financial incentives to provide this. And by the way, you can control your PTO plans. I mean, you can make it like nobody takes time off unless they get approved by the supervisor. So when people are figuring this out, they're like, okay, we can offer this. But people taking less time off is an issue. And, it's a mental health issue.
Especially now, given what we've been through.
It really is. So now you've got employers that are saying like, hey, listen, we're going to offer this, but we're going to require you to take some time off. I mean, at least some minimum amount of time off. I completely support that. And I think that should be what's done. I think it shows a lot of respect for the workers, but I'm also going to take an accounting view as well. Loren, I mean, a lot of people that are in positions of authority, particularly people that are on the finance side, you have to require people to take time off, you realize, because if you don't require people to take time off, oftentimes fraud and money issues happen because nobody's looking after their shoulder or doing their jobs. So when I hear that there's employers now with unlimited PTO plans are enforcing it and making people take time off, there's a mental health benefit for doing it, but there's also a financial reason to do it internally, which is you want people to go away, have people replace them for a week or two, learn, other people's jobs, and just make sure also that people are doing what they have to do the right way. So I think it's a good thing. I think we're going to see a lot more of it, and it won't just be in the tech industry, anybody offering PTO plans. But getting back, I just also want to say, when I talk to people that are in non-tech, like in manufacturing and distribution, and they talk about, I mention unlimited PTO, they're always like rolling their eyes. Like, you got to be kidding me,
Hasn't really taken hold in the manufacturing industry, has it?
I think it will, though. I really do. I think, I really do. I think as these business owners start realizing that they can keep these plans under control, it is a huge, huge benefit to offer to prospective employees. And we're looking for benefits to offer to attract people to our businesses.
That makes sense. And as you said, it also helps to move people around and get them trained doing different things. That flexibility can be really valuable. Gene Marks is a CPA and writes weekly on small business for The Guardian, The Hill, The Philadelphia Inquirer, The Washington Times, Forbes, and Entrepreneur. I don't know how he does all that. You can also hear him on ABC Radio's Eye on the World with John Batchelor. Gene hosts 2 popular small business podcasts with Paychex Corporation and The Hartford, and he claims to run his own business too. I don't know how he does that either.
I do. We've been having a good year.
Thank you, Gene.
Thanks, Loren. See you next week.
Always great speaking with you. Have a great week, everyone.